we have to start by talking about the Houston Astros, who got swept. And this is another sweep at home against a team that, at the very least, you think you should win 2 or 3 against. But now in this season series against a crappy Yankees team, you go 2-5, you lose 6-2 Friday, you lose 5-4 Saturday, you lose 6-1 Sunday. Through it all, they're very fortunate to be just 1 game out of first place because the Mariners lost 2 or 3 to the Mets. Maybe that Run DMC garb wasn't the best idea. And the Rangers lost 2 or 3 to the Twins. So technically, they're in third place, a little bit behind the Rangers, and 1 game back and the Seattle Mariners. And in times like this, a lot of people are going to look for someone that's very easy to point the finger at and blame. And that person today, for a lot of people, is Dusty Baker. And look, I don't have any rationalizations for some of the decisions he made this weekend. Friday, Chas McCormick didn't play. Jake Myers Day. There's no Michael Brantley as well, though he did get to pinch hit a little bit later. Then you have Saturday, a sequence that has confused a lot of people. You got 2 outs in the 9th. You got 1 runner on. You got Chas McCormick about to come to the plate. Oh, wait, no. Let's pinch hit John Singleton for him. In a move that some would call trolling, after the game at his post-game press conference, Dusty Baker was asked about pinch hitting Singleton for McCormick.
Well, I don't really like anybody against Holmes, really. I mean, this guy's tough. He's really tough on righties. And our projection said that, Singleton's projected at 275 and Chas is like 220. So, you got to, we lost that game long before then. We were just hoping that the matchup was good because nobody really hits Holmes. I mean, he's tough on righties and lefties, but lefties are hitting 100 points higher, on OPS than righties.
Sometimes when you talk, the more you talk, the less believable you are. I really think Dusty should just go we did what's in the best interest of the team here. But that said, it's John effing Singleton, the guy who is barely in the major leagues. A follow-up question was asked about this specific decision a little bit later in the game. Here's Dusty Baker doubling down on Singleton for McCormick Saturday night.
Holmes got a nasty sinker, and, he'll run that ball in on Chas. And so I thought, sometime I go with that. Sometime I go with how our guy's swinging. And then sometimes, I go with how I feel, And that's why we got Singleton up here, really, to have tough at-bats against the tough righties.
Okay. You want the tough at-bats against the tough righties? Okay. Well, I don't know if he is one, but hey, I'm not one to freak out about Dusty Baker decisions. I'm just not. And a lot of people are focusing on that Saturday night. Okay, fine. Then you also have on Sunday, after Yainer Diaz hit his 20th home run of the season on Saturday, a column from Chandler Rome on The Athletic asking if he'll crack the everyday lineup. He did not. And then you got one more Dusty Baker quote for the road before the Astros and Yankees series finale. This is Dusty Baker explaining the playing time for an outfield that features not as much Chas McCormick as a lot of people would like, a lot of sprinklings of Jake Myers, a lot of sprinklings of Mauricio Dubon.
Depends on what I need, If you need defense, if I need an arm, if I need a bat, depends on who's pitching, depends on the stadium, depends on how guys do. It's easy if you got a Julio Rodriguez, you just put him out there in center field. But, each one brings something different to the table, plus and minuses. I mean, this has been a tough situation, and also to keep them sharp and us win and be productive.
Okay. So if they had Julio Rodriguez, it'd be a little bit easier. I want to say one more time, I do not have the energy to get mad about Dusty Baker's day-to-day lineup decisions that a lot of you guys do. But we'll get to that a little bit later. I instead want to react to a couple of, let's just say, manifestos by some of my coworkers here at ESPN 97.5. Two guys that I will acknowledge know a lot more about baseball than I do. First off, from Late Hits, Patrick Creighton tweeted, "I love Dusty, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to this year, he is way off the reservation this season. It's not just the lineups. It's not just what seems like a deliberate decision to sit Chaz and Diaz way more than anyone else in all of baseball would even consider. The bullpen decisions, his absurd faith in Montero early, the overuse of Abreu, Neris, and Maton in the first half. It's not just a deliberate avoidance of consistent empirical data over several categories. It's all of that," concluded Patrick Creighton. Joe Espada's got to be the manager of this team next year. And then Jeremy Branham from the Killer Bees, now 3-6 here, ESPN 97.5, had a similar series of questions about Dusty Baker and his lineup decisions. And all that's fair, right? But here's where I guess I'm going to zag and just continue to feel the same way that I did. These guys sucked this weekend. Justin Verlander allowed 4 home runs, and the Astros had 4 hits on Friday. Is that Dusty's fault? Saturday, Hunter Brown took 40 pitches to get 4 effing outs. He only gave you 4 innings. He walked 6 guys along the way. Excuse me, the Astros walked 6 guys over the course of that game. Yeah, at the end of the game, Chas McCormick probably gives you a better chance than John Singleton, to at least this baseball dummy. But your starting pitching sucked Friday, sucked Saturday. Yesterday, at the very least, you got a good performance from Christian Javier. He had 8 strikeouts, but only 4 Astros starters managed hits, and Jose Urquidy gave up 3 runs in the 9th. You lose 6-1. So I think we look for the convenient person to blame after the Astros get swept in Dusty Baker. And this is not me being a Dusty Baker apologist. I have no rationalization for those things that I listed a little bit earlier. All I'm trying to say is I feel like he is the easy target when in reality, this team just crapped itself. They played like crap over the weekend. Maybe they took the Yankees lightly. Honestly, I would have too. I didn't want to watch this series. I did mainly out of spite towards the New York Yankees. And there were a lot of Yankee fans that were there at the park. But I think that sort of is consistent with where we're all at. Like, we don't really care that much about the Yankees, and maybe the Astros overlooked the Yankees. And I don't know, do we need another team meeting with Martin Maldonado? Maybe that will help things out. Maybe that will right the ship. But I get Dusty frustration. Dusty Baker is not the reason that the Astros got swept this weekend. He's not. They couldn't pitch. They couldn't hit. And they better clean that up because this is the biggest series of the season these next 3 days against the Texas Rangers, who did not play well themselves over the weekend. I mean, it took Astros killer Adolis Garcia to make up for a blown save by the Rangers yesterday. Yet another one. Their bullpen is just absolute crap. For them to actually get a win and to avoid being swept themselves. So, am I out of line here in saying the Dusty Baker attackers maybe need to slow their roll after these 3 games? I get it. I'm not even telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying it's easy to blame Dusty Baker for this weekend. But the reality is the starting pitching sucked and the bats didn't hit enough.